How much risk are you willing to take? How much risk you take today is going to be different from what you take tomorrow. And luckily in our society, there's people that are willing to take risks, because the risk takers are the entrepreneurs, are the ones who develop businesses. Every invention out there was done by a risk taker. Everybody that came up with an idea and bought into it with their mind and their capital and their labor, has taken risk. People go, oh, he made so much money, whether it's in business or sports or anything else. A good example that everybody understands, the sports guy, the person who excels at soccer, they didn't sleep in. They didn't take it easy. They always were practicing and working out. It's very few people that it's natural ability that can do it without working. So the cost to them has been that they've been working out. The risk is that they'll never make it good enough to be pro. So they spend all their time doing this. So we've seen that with a lot of people that in high school they're going to be a basketball player. So they spend all their time and money doing basketball. They get basketball training, but they don't get tutoring. And at the end of the day, the tutoring is what would have made a difference in their life. They're not going to be playing basketball at 40, but they will be using the skills that they learned when they were younger. So the businessman or woman, the business individual, the entrepreneur who takes a risk, they spend the time. A lot of times people go without a salary. They go without pay. They put their house up for mortgage. When I had my export business, the bank came to us and said, you need more collateral. So they had a personal guarantee. They had a second deed on our house, or a title to our house, claim to our house. They had a claim to our stocks. And in that case, they even had my father-in-law sign for the loan. So they had 4 different ways to get their money back. So they were covering their risk. They had very minimal risk. In fact, banks are typically risk avoiders. They don't want to take risk. We had a lot of risk, and we went without investment, or without income. We went with investment without income to try and build the business. And sometimes that succeeds and sometimes it fails. And, people say that people give back. A lot of people are saying, oh, Bezos and Gates, they're giving back. Well, they didn't give back because they didn't take. They developed a product or a service that we were all willing to pay for, and they were better than everybody else. Now, the fact that they made lots of money and are willing to reinvest it in society. Some of them reinvest it by giving it away. Some of them reinvest it by saying, okay, I'm going to explore airspace. I'm going to explore science. I'm going to do things that take risk. And for a rich person, for a millionaire or billionaire to lose $1 million or $10 million or $100 million, it's much different than if you or I lose, one paycheck. So we need people to take risk. Those roles a lot of times are filled by government. The government's looking at the long term and saying, okay, we're not going to make any money on space exploration today, or we're not going to make money developing solar energy or battery energy, but we want to get there. So how do we incentivize and how do we get there? When you're looking at risk and deciding whether you want to take the risk, and I'm going to stop at this because I'm not going anywhere with it. Thank you. Bye-bye.